Hello, everyone, and welcome to EBTV's coverage of high school wrestling. Tonight, East Brunswick hosts the J.P. Stevens Hawks. I'm Bob Cancro along with Stu Kohn, and we'll be giving you the play-by-play coverage of this contest. Stu, tonight, East Brunswick comes in at 3-3. They face J.P. Stevens in 3-3. What can we expect from these two clubs?
Well, first, we're going to have to put up with my sore throat a little bit tonight, Bob, but you're right. We have two even teams. East Brunswick's coming in off an impressive win over Woodbridge, 34-30, and hopefully that momentum and experience can carry them over the edge tonight with a victory. Despite having a young team, they have a lot of experience.
Okay, we have experience on the part of a head coach in Glenn Pazinko for the Bears. On the J.P. Stevens side, we have a first-year coach in Steve Giordano. What can we look for from this young man?
Well, Steve, as you all know, has some history and tradition behind him. He's from South Plainfield, where he's a former state champion, and the South Plainfield quote-unquote golden boy.
So we have an interesting matchup, the 3-3 East Brunswick Bears against the 3-3 Stevens Hawks. We'll be right back in a moment with the coverage of tonight's match. Hello, everyone. We're back here at East Brunswick High School. Stu Kohn to my left. I'm Bob Cancro. We'll be having the coverage of tonight's contest between the Bears of East Brunswick and the J.P. Stevens Hawks. Our referee, Lou Del Monte, out there coming over to the table. And I believe he said the odd bouts, even bouts? Stu, I missed that.
We're going to find out real fast.
We're going to find out in a second. Choice. I missed it. First thing we had, and we already missed it. We lead off at 103 pounds.
The purpose of the coin toss is to determine which team sends the wrestler to the mat first.
And the first wrestler that came over to the table was Stevens' Jeff Zanetti, and he'll be going against Carmen Corona. Both of these young men are freshmen. As Zanetti gets in on a leg pretty high, and Corona comes out of it. Corona trying to lift him through, and does give up the takedown, though.
So it's 2-0 Zanetti here in the first period. Corona trying an escape, pops to his feet and successful for a 1-point neutral.
He does get that escape, and quickly Zanetti gets to the ankles, and again the takedown as he comes up very quickly.
We're at 4-1. And Zanetti quickly takes Corona to his back, looking for some near fall points.
He does have at least a couple out there as Lou Del Monte signals the two near fall back points, and that brings up to 6-1. Steve Giordano said that Zanetti, who comes in at 10-2, was certainly one of his better wrestlers, and so far he has shown that.
Okay, Corona picks up one on the edge. Corona, the first of 3 boys in the family. Michael and Christopher also wrestle in East Brunswick Recreation Program.
All 3 through the rec program, and I had an opportunity to work with Carmen at one point. He's a very tough competitor, very strong kid, and even as a 4th and 5th grader, very physical. And it looks like he was trying to do a little bit more of that in this matchup too. He gets in on a high crotch.
We're 8-3 in the first period with 32 seconds remaining here at 103.
Quick was Zanetti in on that ankle, and Corona lets that one go and gives up the takedown. He's now given up 4 takedowns in this first period with a 10-3 lead for Stevens' Jeff Zanetti.
Well, you know, Carmen wrestling varsity here as a freshman, certainly going to pay dividends down the road for him, Coach.
Down the road, but this is it's a tough experience for any freshman to come in, and East Brunswick has several of them in the lineup, because certainly at the lower weights it's not quite as bad a situation, because you're usually going to find younger kids, but as you move up the line, it's tougher.
Well, we now know J.P. Stevens chose even. East Brunswick will have choice in the odd bouts.
And Carmen Corona deferred, which gave Zanetti choice in the second period.
You see a lot of that, Bob, where, you know, one brother comes out for wrestling and the rest of the brothers seem to follow.
Well, if you don't like wrestling, then you're probably not going to be in a wrestling family, because it becomes, as Zanetti gets a takedown in there, because it becomes a family affair. You go to tournaments together, you end up hanging around together, you work out, you wrestle in the living room. There are probably many parents, mothers especially, who will talk about lamps that have been broken in that living room with cradles being rocked around, and Carmen's brought back in a cradle by Zanetti. Carmen fighting it pretty well, working back to his belly, which is where he wants to go, and he's got to kick that leg out and break the hold. He does give up the three-point near fall for a 15-3, now 15-4 score. See there again, Carmen trying to pull him back over and throw him, and did not succeed in that, giving up the takedown.
So we're at 17-4, halfway through the second period. With Zanetta on top in the score and Zanetta on top in position.
Well, we have a 13-point differential right now. At 15, this match ends, if it goes that way.
Our official for tonight is Lou Del Monte from the Central chapter.
Lou's been around a while, hasn't he?
This is his 19th season. Very experienced. As you said, he's been around a while.
Carmen's been he's rocked back into that cradle.
That's going to end the match with a 2-point near fall, and it's going to make it a tech fall. So Zanetta takes J.P. Stevens to the scoreboard first, and the team score with a 5-0 lead here at 103.
The tech fall coming at 3:31 of the second period, and it puts J.P. Stevens up, as you said, 5-0.
And we'll certainly see more of the Corona family in years to come, with much more years to come out of Carmen and his younger brothers Michael and Chris to follow.
And not only on the East Brunswick side, but also over on the J.P. Stevens side, because at 140, we'll have Gene Zanetti, who's the older brother of Jeff, and he'll be coming out to wrestle up there. At 112 pounds, Jin Kim for J.P. Stevens. For the Bears, Jamie Guido. Jamie lettered last year as a freshman. Again, the lower weights very often occupied by freshmen and sophomores. Little height advantage for Kim as he comes back to the circle. You notice good 3 or 4 inches on Jamie. He is a shorter wrestler at 112 pounds.
And it's Kim on the first, in on the takedown to score first. Take a 2-0 lead.
And that's two wrestlers in a row now. The first takedown scored by J.P. Stevens, and when I was coaching, and you may have had that experience from me too, I always put a great deal of emphasis on that first takedown, because I always felt, and from my father, who also wrestled back in the dark ages, he pointed out, in his words, those are 2 points you never get back.
Your father was right.
He was
from any early indication we have, Stevens is working well on their feet. That was always Steve Giordano's trademark at South Plainfield, was being a strong wrestler from his feet.
Kim throws a single leg in on the left side, and now working the upper body, but Jamie's got to pop that head out. He might get that reversal, and he does.
That brings us to 2-2 with 1 minute to go in the first period.
A little low on that on the ride.
Okay, we have a blood time. J.P. Stevens wrestler will have up to 5 minutes to control the blood. The 5 minutes can be cumulative or taken in one stop, but he'll have a total of 5 minutes to control the blood before he'll have to re-wrestle.
Okay, Stu, you are the assigner for the GMC conference, an experienced official. Difference between injury time and blood time.
Okay, on an injury, you'll have 90 seconds. And for blood, you'll have 5 minutes.
And that's cumulative, total time during the match.
And on your second timeout for injury, your opponent will have choice of position when you go back to re-wrestle. All these rules have been modified and enhanced and changed over the years to speed up the match, to encourage wrestling, to get the match to go on without a lot of stoppage.
I think one of the issues that was prevalent not that long ago, a few years ago, was that there were wrestlers who were taking timeouts, injury timeouts. And in a lot of cases, it wasn't because they were hurt, but rather because they simply were a little bit tired and needed a 30-second breather.
A little pit stop. And to go along with that, as you see tonight on television, you'll see the wrestlers with their shoelaces taped. That's another new rule that's been put into effect this year, Bob, to get the kids from taking the pit stops for tying their shoelaces. So when the wrestler goes on the mat this year, his shoelaces must be taped or have some kind of band around the laces. And if that isn't done, it's a 1-point dress code violation, and that's a team point.
And that has spawned a cottage industry of devices to cover to cover laces besides just putting tape on it. Sit out by Kim in the switch, you should say there, and coming around, Jamie's got to get his hips out, but he does give up the reversal. Kim very lanky, and those long wrestlers for fellows who are short, such as myself, are always difficult to come up against. Good throw over the top there by Jamie, gets the escape, and we're now at 4-3.
Okay, so that's Kim picking up 3 near falls, and Guido right back with a neutral to take us to 8-6 in favor of Guido here at 112, winding down with 15 seconds to go. Both wrestlers fighting for the takedown with just a few seconds left here in the second period.
4 seconds left, they're still in a neutral position.
So that's going to bring us to the third period with an 8-6 score. Sorry, second period. There was a lot of action that first period.
Kim deferred, and Jamie Guido takes the bottom position.
Okay,
the offense.
Kim shows the sign of the alternative start to the official, which means he's going to take the optional starting position. You know, he didn't let the guy go, but he went right back on the attack from that position.
I think most people, when they see that, figure they're going to give up the 1 point right away, but that's not necessarily the case, as was shown here by Jin Kim.
And what Guido wants to do here is he wants to try to suck in that leg and get square with Kim, try to face him.
Now, at some point in here, are we going to get a stall call in here, or could we get a stall?
Well, we could get a stalemate if Kim doesn't
say.
improve on the situation. Kim's trying to work a near side cradle.
That crossface is very uncomfortable for the bottom man, and Kim's working it pretty tight in there.
Well, for those who have never wrestled, 6 minutes out on the mat could be considered 6 of the longest minutes of your life. Okay, now, red was hit for stalling, which is Kim. And when you hear the official say red, he's referring to J.P. Stevens, and the home team is referred to as green, as indicated on the official's wristbands. And again, Zanetti's going to take the optional start. And he's going to this time let Guido go. It's going to bring our score to 9-6.
Okay.
Best defense here is to stay offensive.
Well, you have to keep attacking. I mean, and any coach will say, I mean, there are certain strategies where you do want to be defensive, but generally speaking, now Kim lost his balance, and Jamie didn't quite attack it quick enough, and is giving up a takedown. He pops that head, he might at least get 1, if not 2. We have 35 seconds remaining here in the second period, the 112-pound contest between Jamie Guido of East Brunswick. He is on the bottom right now, setting himself up against Jin Kim, a sophomore coming in with a 4-4 record.
Okay, now off the whistle, you want to establish the first move, give you a little edge, and Guido quickly works into a Peterson. If he can plant himself and into that position, he'll get a reversal out of this, but Kim converts it into a cradle of his own, and he's got some back points coming in the bank. So there's at least 2 more coming here, 3. If you can bring your opponent to his back, expose his shoulders for 5 seconds or more, it's 3 near fall.
And we have under 5 seconds as the second period is coming to a conclusion. And suddenly we have a bit of a turn of events in that second period as Kim picks up 5 points during the course of that period to 2 for Jamie. And the score here as we go into the third period is 11-10, Jin Kim.
Got an action-packed match here.
They are rolling back and forth. Jamie was very close with that Peterson and just couldn't quite lock it up and turn his belly down. And as Kim picks him up, he's got to be careful coming down, under control, and he does get the takedown. That puts it at 13-10, Jin Kim.
So Guido here has to be thinking quick explosion to his feet for 1 and back in for a takedown with 2 to tie this up. So look for Guido to look for a takedown now.
He cuts him on that first whistle, and it is now 13-11 in favor of J.P. Stevens Kim.
Sophomore Jamie Guido in need of a takedown here.
He gets in on the legs very well.
Now he needs to stay locked to avoid giving up the takedown.
He's got to keep the hands through the crotch, as you're saying. He loosened up that, but there's still no control.
He needs to kick his legs out here, try to make himself long. In the attempt, it's Kim that picks up the takedown.
There's the takedown now at 15-11, a 4-point lead as we approach the 1 minute mark remaining in regulation, the third period. 1 minute to go now. Jamie again looking for that Peterson. He almost had it the first time. He's hooked inside that leg.
Jamie needs to get off his knees. And he does, and he converts for two.
He's got the reversal.
And he's getting the back points. Great move by Guido. If he could just stay there and keep his balance, he's in great position.
38 seconds. That's a long time on your back. It's also a long time to hold a Peterson.
He's in a good position to do it.
He's got it pretty well because he's got the wrist locked up there. He's got good control on the hands, and he's got 3 points in the bank, it looks like, which would give him a win, but he's got to hold on. He's got to keep that control right where it is. 15 seconds to go. Both coaches on their feet, leaning in towards the mat. He's got to hang on. 8 seconds. And the coaching staff of East Brunswick saying, stay right there, don't move. There's the buzzer.
What a way to come back
wow.
for Jamie Guido.
Nice finish.
Stealing a 16-15 victory here at 112 for East Brunswick.
A barn burner in that bout. 3 points for the Bears. Jamie Guido picking up the win with a flurry in the last period. That Peterson, which he couldn't lock up in the second period, which cost him, and then came back in the last period, working it very well and locking up nicely. And that takes us to the 119-pound bout. Stevens leading 5-3 on the scoreboard. For the Hawks, Rob Brower, a sophomore, at 4-6 against freshman Timmy Ackerman at 1-7.
It's quite an exciting match. It just shows you it's not over till it's over.
I'll tell you, as well as Kim worked on his feet and was getting in quite nicely on Jamie. Jamie kept plugging away, coming back and coming back.
But a 5-point move at the end sealed the victory for Guido.
That was a big one. And he almost had it in the second period, and when he didn't quite get it, he gave up his own back points there, which can really devastate a kid, if they're not mentally prepared to do it, because this is such an emotional and mental game. Brower in on the legs. He's got high crotch switching off to a double. Good fight by Ackerman. Gets that crossface in.
What Ackerman needs to do here is work that crossface, lift up on that ankle, and try to spin around for a takedown.
They're still neutral. He's got to get his legs back. Tim, another relatively short fella out there at 119 pounds.
Ackerman with a big victory over Ho Lee of South Brunswick earlier in the season. And Coach Kozinko is quite impressed with the experience of Ackerman thus far this season.
He's still got...
Referee's going to stop that for potentially dangerous, so we're going to get a fresh start.
There were no points. There were no points.
Okay, so we're at 0-0 here at 119 with Ackerman of East Brunswick and Brower of JP Stevens. Both men locked up. And it's Ackerman with a shrug by, in on a single. What Ackerman needs to do here is cut the corner and come around and pop his head out, come over to hips for the takedown. But he needs to do that inbounds. Just misses. We're going to get a fresh start.
But Ackerman is fighting very well.
Well, we were at 8-6 already at this point in the last bout, Bob. This goes to show you how one weight class can bring a world of difference.
We've gone 1 minute and 40 seconds in the first period, and there is no score here between Rob Brower of Stevens and Tim Ackerman of the Bears. Ackerman with a high crotch. The whizzer in by Brower to try to fight it. That left arm locked underneath his the near arm.
Certainly a bout JP Stevens wants to win with East Brunswick returning region champ Keith Richings coming up next for the Bears.
Okay, Tim Ackerman defers in the second period. There's no score here at 119 pounds. And Rob Brower chooses the bottom position. defense. And the traditional start on top by Ackerman, working in for the 2-on-1 for control.
Okay, now Ackerman has to come out and work to the sides. Lou Del Monte not afraid to call stalling, as we know.
When the guys, the wrestling officials get up into the state level, they're top-notch officials, and they do call stalling much more aggressively at that level because you expect a lot more from the kids, but they also, they're consistent when they come down to a non-state match, if you will, as this is just a dual meet between two red division teams in the GMC. So that stalling call will come up very quickly.
Well, they're looking to promote the action as Ackerman's riding the Navy ride, looking to convert it, doing a nice job of keeping Brower on the mat. But he needs to work up here.
He's looking for that tilt.
He's in good position.
For a freshman, he's doing very well. Now, Brower, again, is only a sophomore, but nonetheless showing a lot of poise out there.
Well, as I alluded to earlier, I was talking to Coach Bazinko before the match, and pointed right to Ackerman as being, something to look forward to in years to come for East Brunswick. Doing a nice job as a freshman, and really doing a nice job on the mat for Coach Bazinko.
Just under a minute left here in the second period, 119 pounds. Tim Ackerman with control, and he is working for the point, so there's no likelihood of a stalling call here. But he does have to start either making something happen there or go to something else.
Right, he has to continually keep looking for the pin. He is out to the side. A lot of times the referee will call stalling if the wrestler sits on that Navy ride a little too long.
Right.
But Ackerman doing a nice job with the Navy, trying to work up, trying to turn Brower.
22 seconds remaining here in the second period. Now, if there's no score in this period, to some extent, at least from my perspective, that gives a little advantage to Tim Ackerman because he'll be on the bottom, which is the offensive position, and the opportunity to score some points coming out and getting behind.
Well, he'll have choice of position, and it's our assumption we think he'll take bottom.
So I go back a long ways to where it was kind of traditional when you're on top of one, you're on the bottom of the next. There is no scores. The period comes to an end here at 119 pounds. Tim Ackerman does choose the bottom position.
Well, the guru is right.
If only that were the case.
So what Ackerman needs to do here, he needs to establish hand control and look to score. We're locked up at 0-0 in the third period here at 119.
I was talking with Steve Giordano before the match, and this being his first year as a head coach, and he said he viewed his team as very inexperienced, or rather inexperienced, and it was at times very trying, is what he said. And when you have kids who might have a situation such as, let's say, Jin Kim did the last time, where you had an opportunity, you had the upper hand, and then you suddenly lose it. Or here's a situation where Rob Brower has locked up the cradle and turned Ackerman over, and a fall.
And a little unexpected pin coming in the third period after we were locked up at 0-0. Brower pulling out a pin in the third period.
Well, the guru was not right there because as I thought Timmy might have had a bit of an advantage with the opportunity to score, but very quickly at 4:35 of the third period, Rob Brower coming up with 6 points for the Hawks and putting them up 11-3 as we go to 125 pounds. And here is probably one of the lead wrestlers and one of the stars for the Bears, Keith Richings.
Well, certainly East Brunswick will have an experienced edge here at 125 with Richings on the mat. Returning district champ, returning region champ.
And going up against the sophomore and Dan Miller, who is coming in at 1-4.
And he's just finishing up on a quick double duck under takedown, and he converts it to a quick half. One move right after another. And quickly, Miller finds himself in trouble. So that's going to bring us to 4-0 here in the first period.
He gets the near fall and working that arm.
Richings working a near hammer lock. Needs to keep that at 90 degrees. It's nice watching Keith wrestle, using moves, good technique. What the sport's all about is going out there and trying combinations of moves rather than just brute strength and trying to throw your opponent around. It's nice to see a technician on the mat as we have here in Richings.
But even technicians sometimes get caught.
Well, he lost his hold. He got countered. It brings it to 4-2.
We're just under a minute here in the first period at 125 pounds. Keith Richings of the Bears leading by 2 points over Dan Miller, who is certainly putting up a game fight after really being racked in those that first minute of the period, with Keith being very aggressive.
It's Richings quickly popping back out for one to take a 5-2 lead here in the first period. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left here in the first. Look for Richings to set up another takedown.
I would say that, and give me your thoughts too, I would say that Glenn Pazinko certainly is looking for 6 points from Keith out of this bout.
Absolutely.
Level of competition and the quality of the wrestling that Keith can do, certainly he would expect that.
Okay,
He does not have control. That's a, well, got to watch that neck. It's not a headlock, it's only one hand around it. And
he quickly pops out for the takedown.
And at the buzzer,
Just
nice,
in time.
nice
to take
move
a 7-2
there.
lead here into the second period.
JP Stevens was with an 11-3 lead on the Bears at 125 pounds, and Dan Miller, with choice, chooses the bottom position as the first wrestler who is not deferred on their choice, for those of you keeping score at home. Now Keith, with control on that ankle, cannot stay down there very
Well, he
long.
cut off the first move. He needs to work up. But it was a nice job of the first initial move off the whistle.
He's got the single leg in. Looking for the Turk or something else like it. Got it.
Okay, you know, with the one leg in, that's referred to as a boot. So, you know, Richie's trying to work off the leg, trying to work a combination now.
I say Turk, I'm at crossbody. Working the tilt.
He's got a tilt through the crotch, ball and chain tilt. Referee counting back points, so Richie's going to pick up some points here.
He's
Tough position to pin from, but certainly a good position to pick up some quick back points.
And in many cases, what you're looking for there is to soften up the opponent a little bit, because that can be very uncomfortable.
Now it's Miller who needs to stay aggressive on bottom and get his head off the mat to avoid the stall call.
We're just under a minute here in the second period. Keith Richings of the Bears with a 10-2 lead.
You know, Miller might very well know his assignment out here tonight for the Hawks is, you know, his goal might not be to win, but try to keep this match in close range and keep the score down and try to avoid being pinned, and that would be his contribution to the team tonight.
Well, and that's part of the strategy. There are some matches that coaches know you're not going to win. The competition is just too strong, but you're trying not to get wrecked, as I used to say a lot. And there were times when you knew your kid was going to lose, but you're trying to minimize the damage.
Richie is certainly one of the more experienced wrestlers on the team, a seasoned wrestler, year-round competitor. And those wrestlers that really succeed today are the ones that make it a year-round sport. In addition, Keith's a soccer player for East Brunswick, so trying to balance two sports in at one time.
And he's certainly a very good soccer player. A varsity letter winner there.
So Richie in on that hammerlock.
You know, you watch a move like that, and for someone who's not used to watching wrestling, as the period comes to a close here, if you're not used to watching wrestling and you say, my gosh, that's a horrible move, you must be destroying that kid's arm. But wrestling, for all of its aggressive looks, is really a very safe sport. You've got one official for two competitors, and the rules really do protect the kids while they're out there.
So Richie elects bottom.
Here in the third period, a 10-2 lead for Keith Richings. Miller from...
It's a nice reversal for Richings.
Oh, real quick.
Takes Miller right to his back.
12-2, looking for more.
Well, Riching has a minute and a half left here to look for the fall. Certainly East Brunswick can use the 6 points here.
Well, they absolutely need this, and Glenn Pazinko would really want nothing less. Minute 25 to go here in the third period. There are 3 points that he's got locked up off that near fall. And with those 3, it goes to 15-2.
What's been real interesting about Keith is the jump in weight classes this year and how he's managed to stay competitive after going up 2 weight classes.
That's not easy for small guys especially. It's one thing for a 160-pounder perhaps to end up at 180, 89 because they're used to carrying some weight. But the little guys, and I use that figuratively.
It's a big body percentage.
That's a lot of percentage, exactly.
So Richie needs to get busy here. He's got a 13-point lead. Without a pin, we certainly want to get a tech fall.
This is right now only a 4-point decision.
So we certainly need at least one more good turn. Richie trying to work in a bar on the near side.
You saw him take a look up at the clock, so he knew how much time he had left, and he is now at 32 seconds remaining in the period. And he wants to get that one more turn. Now at this point,
Well, here it comes.
he's getting real close to it. He's got to watch his own back.
Okay, that's gonna make this a tech fall for a 17-2 score here at 119. Any point scored now would not count. The referee's not aware of the 15-point dereffle yet. Now it's brought to his attention.
On the scoreboard, they put it on the wrong side.
Okay.
And they said it looks like it's 15-4, but it should be 17-2.
So Richings answers the call with a 5-point East Brunswick tech fall here at 125. That's going to take us to 130.
That brings the Bears back to within 3 at 11-8, and at 130 pounds, Brian Ackerman for the Bears coming out, a sophomore against Matt. I'm going to take a look at this game. Stanzione, I shouldn't have had that much trouble with that name, for the Hawks. Stanzione, a junior at 6-3, so this should be an interesting matchup. Brian has some experience. He is one of the other wrestlers and one of the several wrestlers on the team who came up through the recreation program.
Well, the records could be a little deceiving too, Bob, because East Brunswick has certainly wrestled some of the best teams in the area and participated in the Hunter and Central tournament so far. So a 4-4 East Brunswick record certainly is going to have a lot more credence than a 4-4 wrestler that might come in from J.P. Stevens that hasn't seen the same competition thus far this year that East Brunswick has.
Very true. Brian, another very hard-working kid, very steady, very solid. Stevens has shown itself to be very aggressive on its feet and probably one of its really strengths, I would say, so far in this match.
You see his headgear real padded up on the left side.
If I put my glasses on, I might. Quick takedown for Stanzione.
So it's Stanzione on the scoreboard first, take a 2-0 lead with that first period takedown with 1:30 to go here in the first at 1:30.
Now I wonder if Stanzione has a cauliflower ear or if there's some other injury to his ear that required that extra padding on his left side.
Well, we certainly know all about cauliflower ear, the curse of a good wrestler.
You're grinding that head in, and very often if they're working without that headgear.
So important to instill on wrestlers how important it is to wear that headgear, even in practice. Every time you're on that mat, to have that headgear on.
Okay, this is for the second time a J.P. Stevens wrestler has blood, and Stanzione goes off to the side. We take a look over there on the right, up to our right, as Brian Ackerman is 10-2. They have to, of course, clean him up as well.
So get a look at Coach Pazinko in his 11th year here at East Brunswick.
Glenn himself, a former wrestler at the high school.
They went on to North Carolina.
Fine career there. Stu, just as a point of reference, you see Brian being 10-2 on the side and the coach assisting there. And besides doing some of the cleanup, they can also do some coaching on the side. And the same thing can go on for the wrestler who's being 10-2, and that would be Matt Stanzione on the J.P. Stevens side.
That's correct, because it's a blood timeout. Now, if this was an injury timeout, they would not be allowed to coach. They would only be able to take care of the injury.
Now, and from a philosophical standpoint, the reasoning there was because they didn't want kids calling timeouts so they can get a quick pointer from their coach as well.
Correct.
We are here at the 104 mark in the first period at 130 pounds. Matt Stanzione for the Hawks getting 10-2 from his blood. The clock is just being stopped by Lou Del Monte, so that 5-minute total was being ended. And Brian Ackerman for the Bears down 2-0. It is 11-8 in favor of the Stevens Hawks here at the fifth match of the night.
Interesting to note that tonight's matchup for the Bears, 14 weight classes, we'll see 3 freshmen and 4 sophomores.
That's, it's something you very seldom would see in any lineup, and certainly not at East Brunswick. But that's a change right now. It is a very young team, and
hopefully that'll play dividends down the road.
Absolutely. Now the freshmen and the JV team wrestled tonight, and it looked like they had a pretty good-sized squad. So the numbers are there, and now it's just a matter of developing some of that talent. As we resume action here, as we approach the 1-minute mark of the first period, and some good early movement coming off the whistle by Ackerman, stepping across.
Ackerman needs to pop his head out. Okay, referee's no change in the action. He's going to have to do it all over again.
Had Brian been able to pop his head out, the likelihood is he probably would have gotten the 1 point there,
At least
or if not 2. 1 going out, 2 they stayed on. looks like Lou Del Monte has spotted some blood on the mat, and under the rules, it is required that that get cleaned up.
So this will be considered an official's timeout, which is not chargeable to either wrestler.
Although it wasn't real clear at first, I think the referee was looking over and he wondered if Stanzione was looking for blood time. And they are. So obviously the blood is, the nose is still bleeding.
So this is the second stoppage for Stevens.
Now,
This will get added to his cumulative total.
But there's no limit to the number of times
Correct.
that they can stop the clock for blood. That's a referee's discretion.
4 blood. Now, if it was an injury, he would be limited to 2 stoppages.
And you can see over on the side that you're seeing right now, Glenn Pazinko doing some coaching and a little bit about what to do off that bottom move.
Well, he sees some things, and maybe he's pointing some instructions out to Ackerman that'll help him score and either escape or work into a reversal.
And meanwhile, in the middle of the mat, we have one of the trainers for the Bears doing the cleanup, and they do a real nice job here. Phil Hostler, as the head trainer for the Bears, has a great program in which the students are get an opportunity to actually earn letters as trainers, and they do quite a bit of training to get that position. That's not an easy task, and my daughter being one of them right now.
Well, as I look at the program, Bob, I think Glenn Pazinko wishes his team was as deep as the manager list. So that's going to be at least 1, if not 2, for the Bears, and he's awarded the reversal.
Good action by Brian Ackerman. Good hustle coming off the whistle. So whatever Glenn said seemed to work. And you're right. The managers for the Bears are numerous, and they do a fine job in keeping the books and statistics, and some of them are also part of the training staff for Phil Hostler.
They don't get the attention they deserve for all the hours they put in.
And the aggravation they often take from their peers.
So as we go out of bounds, we're back to action here in the first period with 39 seconds remaining and a 2-2 score. Ackerman on top.
The takedown originally gotten by Matt Stanzione, and then the reversal by Brian Ackerman, and that's left us in the draw situation here as we are at the 30-second mark.
Seems like a longer bout than it is because of the 2 blood stops and a couple times jumping out of bounds.
And as you mentioned earlier on, the whole point of reducing the time for timeout, the number of timeouts and the amount of time for injury timeouts was to speed the match up. Of course, you still can't stop those kinds of things from happening.
Correct, but a wrestler does have to make an attempt to do the action in the middle of the mat, and if the official feels the wrestlers are playing the edge, you can get hit for fleeing the mat or stalling.
Stanzione able to stand up fairly easily on Brian Ackerman.
Well, 15 seconds to go. Ackerman here needs to react first off the whistle, control his opponent, and keep him from escaping with 15 seconds to go. So Ackerman with his work cut out for here, 15 seconds to go. Nice job doing that by Ackerman, right in on the box and chop.
Tied in behind him, but Stanzione able to break away at 7 seconds to go. Quick escape gives him a 3-2 lead as the period comes to a close. Matt Stanzione of Stevens up 3-2 over Brian Ackerman.
And another blood stoppage for Stanzione.
From your understanding, was there ever a proposal or ever a thought of limiting the amount of blood time that a wrestler could take? I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that.
Well, I think I've never seen a wrestler not be able to control the blood in 5 minutes.
Right.
It's very seldom it comes to that. But also I've noticed over the years it seems to be the same kids that just have that bleeder trait and repetition. And once you're a bleeder, it seems the water falls open for the whole season.
Well, I can empathize with that. They used to just keep a bag of cotton balls in the corner when I was wrestling, and back in those days, we were talking about 30 years ago. You went off to the side, they stuck a cotton ball in your nose, and they sent you back out there to wrestle. Clock is stopped again. Now, I'm not sure how much time has been used. It really hasn't been that long.
Of course, you didn't have mats back then, Bob, right? That was on the hay?
Out on the hay, they laid the straw down, and we just rolled around on it. Actually, the first year I ever wrestled in 7th grade, we just had little sections of mat, and we put a cover over it with a circle painted on that cover, so it was a different time frame. They are finishing cleaning up the mat on the side, even though the clock has stopped.
See how well I was paying attention. I know it was somewhere in North Jersey.
Hackensack.
Hackensack.
Which
strong history of wrestling.
In the last few years especially has done very well. And my former coach, Joe DeFalco, who is now the principal of Hackensack High School, was inducted into the Region 2 Hall of Fame a couple of years ago, and I was able to go to that dinner. And at the same dinner, my cousin who was actually 81 years old. My father had a very large family, was also inducted into the Region 2 Hall of Fame as a former state champion from Teaneck High School, where my father also wrestled.
Keeping the Cancros well represented in the world of wrestling.
Yes, unfortunately, the gene didn't quite get to me. That's the only problem. Working legs, as some of his earlier partners have done. Matt Stanzione gets the legs in on Brian Ackerman.
Ackerman pretty well tied up here. Ackerman needs to explode back to his base, get back to a table, try to make himself long.
Brian chose bottom, and he's fighting it off pretty well right now. He's got to keep that leg because that tilt's going to is a possibility for Stanzione. Just about 1 minute to go here in the second period of the 130-pound match. Stanzione of Stevens up 3-2 over Brian Ackerman.
Stanzione will have choice in the third period, so Ackerman needs to do something here in the second.
Stalemate's called by Lou Del Monte. No action was happening there. Nobody able to improve their position, and that's pretty much the definition of a stalemate. If nobody can improve it without giving up something.
Del Monte doing a fine job. The action wasn't progressing, so he stopped it. Good call. We're going to get a fresh start here.
Ackerman comes to his feet quickly, and we'll go back the same way.
Good explosion by Ackerman.
47 seconds left in the second period. Stanzione back on the mat with his nose plugged with some either cotton balls or gauze.
Ackerman only a sophomore.
I think, as we said before, Brian, one of these many wrestlers on that on the East Brunswick team who did come through the rec program and had an opportunity to get their basics at a young age, and there's a situation where it does pay off for the team. And while they may not have been as successful as they might like at 3-3, there's still kids who are on this team, young wrestlers, who are able to perform quite admirably and quite well at the varsity level. 18 seconds to go in this period. They are somewhat stuck. Brian trying to get behind. He's got the leg.
Needs to cross face here and spin around.
Step across, and he might have the two.
Short amount of time. He's got the reversal.
Nice
4
job.
seconds to go.
Nice job by Brian Ackerman.
4-3 lead into the third period. Nice job.
Well, don't speak too soon. He's still got to hold him down for 3 seconds, and as we saw in that last bout, or 2 bouts ago, I guess anything can happen.
Okay, well, I don't know how much blood time we've accumulated here. Maybe we could find out from our managers.
We'll check on that.
We got to
we'll
be getting close.
I'm going to do that right now.
Ackerman needs to box and chop here with 3 seconds to go. He doesn't want to give up any cheap points to Stanzione as the second period's going to wind down. We go back to action.
Just checking with the head table where they are keeping score. We're probably at about 2:45 on the blood time. So he has a good deal of time left on the clock, depending on how serious this is.
Certainly our longest match of the night so far, Coach.
Well, again, as you were saying, the problem with this match, if you want to call it a problem, is the fact that Matt Stanzione has been bleeding, and we're probably getting close to 3 minutes gone. He still has an opportunity to stop it, but again, if it continues, it's going to be difficult for him, and it becomes a distraction for the wrestler, because you know you're bleeding, and even if it's been a practice, so to speak, that you've had that problem, it still is. It makes it difficult to breathe. If you get caught in a certain kind of a hold, you're not going to be able to breathe well. Clock was stopped. The blood clock was stopped, and we come back in.
Referee asking to see how much time is left himself. He knows we're probably going to be somewhere near 3 minutes.
And Steve Giordano, the coach for JP Stevens, coming over to the table also to check on that. He just wants to know what's going on, because that could become critical in the last period. Ackerman comes back on top with a 4-3 lead, having gotten the reversal on the circle just before the end of the period, and he hangs onto that leg, and that will bring us to the end of 2 periods here at 130 pounds. Brian Ackerman with a 4-3 lead over Matt Stanzione, and Stanzione chooses the bottom position.
So Ackerman has his work cut out for him here in the third period, riding a 1-point lead, 4-3, with 2 minutes to go, and a long third period ahead.
And it could be even longer depending on how much control Matt Stanzione has on that blood.
Well, as I alluded to earlier, what Ackerman has to do here, his best defense, but to stay offensive. Can't let up. He's got to keep the pressure on Stanzione. He's got to react first off the whistle, look to keep Stanzione on the mat.
Well, if, for example, this, and again, we're just kind of speculating here, if, for example, Brian should give up an escape here, and he's just been called for stalling, or warned there, give up an escape here in the third period, he's giving him the optional start. He may actually do that.
Well, he's going to change his strategy here. He's been warned for stalling, so he's going to let him go, most likely, and try to tie the match up and look for the takedown. The takedown could win this match.
Of course, if we do end up with a tie at the end of regulation, we go into the overtime. We have not seen that so far in the early going here.
Well, years ago, a match would end in a tie, and it would be 2 points for each team. Now they play for a winner, and they'll go to a 2-minute overtime period. And if no one scores in the 2-minute overtime, we'll go to a 30-second sudden death.
Ackerman getting in on that leg. As they came back to the circle after the previous timeout, Stanzione was kind of poking around at his nose. So obviously it is somewhat uncomfortable, and he's certainly conscious of it.
Well, certainly got to be affecting his breathing, having a nose full of gauze. And Stanzione trying to work the front headlock.
He got the snap down.
Ackerman needs to get off his knees here.
We are approaching 1 minute in the third period. We are at 4-4. Ackerman and Stanzione.
Ackerman needs to get off his knees. He needs to get his head up.
He faces him and counters that nicely, and I'm not sure if we had blood there or not.
A nice counter by Brian Ackerman. 55 seconds to go here in the third. Both wrestlers looking for that takedown. 6 minutes is long enough. Neither of them want to make it 8.
Well, this is where the conditioning and the training come in. Stanzione just lost that gauze pad from his nose as Brian tried to get on the leg. He's got it. He's got to pop the head. He's going to be out. He got him pretty well on that, but was not able to gain control before his toes crossed the line. And once again, the blood time gets running there. We have a picture of Matt Stanzione going over there, being tended to by the coaching staff of the Hawks.
Well, hopefully on the other corner, Coach Bazinko can pump some good instruction into Ackerman and see if they can manage a way to get this takedown with 30 seconds to go here in the third.
Off to the left there, the far left, that's Steve Giordano, the new head coach of the Hawks. And over on the right, the coaching staff and the training staff for the Bears, because he's also getting cleaned up a little bit. It is required in just about every sport that blood has to be taken care of.
Get a look at Sean Daly, a former East Brunswick standout.
That's right.
Added to the coaching staff this year at East Brunswick, coaching the freshman team. And interesting, this year the freshmen are up to high school, I understand, Bob.
This year, I guess because of the numbers situation and a coaching concern at the junior high school over at Churchill, the freshmen were brought up to the high school, and Glenn is very happy about that. He's seen a definite positive effect on everybody from the freshmen on up, because
it gives them another year to spend with the wrestler,
and it gives a few more bodies in the room, and not just as cannon fodder, but actually as for training and to help out development of these kids and everybody else on the squad.
So we're back in action. 23 seconds to go.
We both took a look at that clock, and you know, at this point, both coaches are saying, man, get in on that leg, finish it off, and exactly what Stanzione did. He shot first. Decent counter by Brian Ackerman.
As our clock
Gonna
winds
step
down,
across.
Ackerman steps over for a
Archie's
takedown.
got the takedown.
Maybe more. He's picking up back points.
Popped his head up, arches a little bit. He should get control in there and hold on. 3, 2, 1.
Ackerman with a
There's
nice
the
job
period.
and a nice finish. 5-point move to end this bout at 1:30.
An aggressive move by Matt Stanzione, countered well by Matt Ackerman for the 9-4 victory. 3 points for the Bears, and this match is tied up at 11.
We should see a good one here coming up.
Justin Kill at 135 pounds for Stevens comes in at 7-3, and for the Bears,
longtime veteran Nick Yanazzo.
Their senior Nick Yanazzo.
Nick, one of the more experienced wrestlers on the squad for the Bears. Nick's been in that lineup for a long time.
Now you talk about the brother situation. The Yanazzo is another wrestling family.
And the dad.
And that goes back to Dad as well. Dad Jeff,
It's in the bloodline and just runs right down through.
Dad Jeff, a wrestler at South Plainfield High School, and then went on to Trenton State, now the College of New Jersey, which I can never quite get around to calling it. And his brother Chris Nick's brother Chris, who went down to Rowan, was not wrestling, but a fine wrestler for the Bears as well.
Well, if you see, as you see Iheanacho wrestle, he has a nice stance on his feet. He keeps his body square. He's able to attack. Good motion, good positioning. Something that, you know, so hopefully these freshmen and sophomores could take note of and watch Iheanacho on his feet. He has very good positioning.
Well, hopefully some of the wrestlers are watching this tonight, and maybe even taping it off of EBTV, because these are the kinds of situations where you can learn from them.
Well, when you break the film down,
Right.
you can certainly see things you did right, did wrong, you know, and learn from your mistakes and learn from your actions.
In opposite corners of the mat, both J.P. Stevens and East Brunswick taping these matches, and they usually have tapes for each kid individually, so they have a chance to look at their work and see what they did.
Right, and Iheanacho in on a near leg, trying to convert that to a takedown. What Iheanacho wants to do here is suck that in and cut the corner. And then Stevens with a nice Raider counter. And a crazy leg for a takedown.
2-0
counter.
2-0 lead for Justin Kill.
Beautiful counter by Justin Kill. So Iheanacho needs to score here, get that back. Look for Iheanacho, look for him to explode right out off the whistle.
Well, this is an important bout for the Bears to get hopefully to get some points on. The next bout up, Gene Zanetti coming up for the Stevens, is the brother of the 103-pounder, and he also is one of the better wrestlers for Steve Giordano's Hawks.
Absolutely, very good wrestler coming up next for Stevens. East Brunswick needs to get on the board here. We're locked at 11-11.
You know, and you've had 2, 3, and 3 teams, and you know right now we can't ask for much more of an even bout.
No, we got 2, 3, and 3 teams locked at an 11-11 match. Okay, Iheanacho came up nicely, but didn't have the hand control.
My thought was too, just as you're saying, that Nick was able to get to his feet, but he's got to finish that move off.
Needs to establish hand control, needs to get his hips out.
By the way, you're running a very nice clinic tonight, Coach. The analysis is top-notch.
Iheanacho with a quick sit.
And Justin Kill has been warned for stalling. Now, from the top position, a wrestler has to not just ride a man out of bounds, he's got to bring him back down to the mat. And Lou Del Monte obviously feeling he's not doing enough to improve his position.
Again, a nice sit, turn in by Iheanacho.
9 seconds remaining in the
needs to
period.
lift that leg now and convert it, and he does.
Nice
Pops
reversal.
around. Beautiful job by Nick to
And the
take it into a 2-2 tie into the
period
second
comes
period.
to a close. Nice job by Nick at the end of that match, and into that period, I should
So
say.
we look at that scoreboard real quick. We're at 2-2 at 135, and we have an 11-11 team score.
Justin Kill had choice. He has deferred, and Nick Iheanacho has taken the bottom position here in the second period.
Now, Kill deferred, so he can have choice of position in the third period. Feels that's the way to go here at 135.
Well, he may not feel, based on what he did in that first period, even though he got the takedown, he did not have an awful lot of control, and he may not feel all that comfortable on top, and he may feel that his strength is going to be coming back from the bottom.
Well, Kill has to be concerned about is the parallel ride and staying behind. He's already been warned for stalling. Now, in the second warning, that's going to be an Iheanacho point. And knowing how Lou Del Monte officiates, Kill needs to take some concern on that. He's been pretty parallel here in the second. As Iheanacho sits and pops, needs to free himself completely for the escape. So look for Iheanacho to pop off his knees to his feet here.
Kill's got that quarter Nelson in from the front.
Iheanacho wants to work up. If he could push him away, he'll get 1 point. Needs to make a break.
Stand back up, start again.
Needs to get his head off the mat. Needs to come up here.
The Hawks Kill working that front quarter Nelson.
And Nick trying to push back for the head himself. Couldn't quite get the feel. Reaches for the leg.
Got a leg. He can post that and pivot out to the side, maybe stand
Nick's
with
trying
it.
to convert it to a 2.
Go to the double.
Pops his head. Nice move by Iheanacho for a reversal.
That's 4-2. Nick Iheanacho here in the second period with 46 seconds to go. A 4-2 lead as they go out of bounds, and they'll be coming back to the center. 40 seconds on the clock here in the second period at 135 pounds.
No, interesting to see here, Bob. Both wrestlers, neither one carrying a lot of body fat. both these guys are maybe doing some weight reduction to keep their weight at 135.
They look pretty lean. I don't think they're going anyplace.
Nazo working an arm bar, keeping the pressure on, staying heavy.
He's got the bar and the far wrist. He's working for that.
Trying to walk around the head, convert to some back points.
Didn't get the post.
Can't
Lost
get
as he came
sloppy
across.
there. Lost a move, came back around.
Good recovery.
He's got a near wrist. Switches to a half.
Under 10 seconds here.
Takes him over his knee, trying for a power half over a knee. Nice move, nice attempt.
Going to run out of time, though, here in the second period, and Nick Iannazzo will wrap up 4 minutes of wrestling with a 4-2 lead. We go to the third, where Justin Kill will have choice, and he takes neutral.
A little surprised he took neutral there, Coach. I thought he was going to take bottom.
Well, he did get the opening takedown, but I'm not sure that's as indicative of his skills as some of the other wrestlers early on.
I'm not so sure he earned that takedown or just kind of capitalized with a counter off Iannazzo's shot.
Exactly. I think the other wrestlers early on from Stevens who got that first takedown were a little more aggressive. In this case, it was sort of a serendipitous situation.
As Richings, Iannazzo also a two-sport athlete with soccer and wrestling. Picked up his share of hardware here at East Brunswick, lettering in soccer and wrestling.
Soccer in East Brunswick is a major force. And again, a recreation program that does a tremendous job feeding the varsity program here in East Brunswick.
So Iannazzo needs to stay offensive here. Can't let up. Can't ride the lead.
You know, you push the situation. It's Kill that has been warned for stalling, and if Lou Del Monte were to feel that for some reason he's not being aggressive, he could be hit for a point here. But
certainly
you don't depend on that.
Trailing 4-2, you want to stay aggressive.
And leading 4-2, you don't want to become careless and become defensive and have a warning hit against you. We're under a minute, 58 seconds here in the last period of regulation at 135 pounds. Nick Iannazzo of the Bears leading 4-2 over Justin Kill.
Both wrestlers in a ear-to-ear, head-to-head tie. Iannazzo quickly shrugs it off.
He gets in on the knee, 40 seconds.
Okay, Iannazzo needs to stay locked here.
Not uncommon with officials in a situation, close match, towards the end, a quick stalemate call rather than let it drag on too long. Let him wrestle.
Let Iannazzo eat up the clock there. Okay, what Iannazzo needs to do here is keep control, stay square. He wants to get his head off the mat.
Again,
needs to stay aggressive for 24 seconds.
He's got to keep facing him.
Wants to get off his knees. Don't want to be on your knees here.
He's countered it. We're at 10 seconds to go. Nick able to fight it.
And as all these matches, they have implications for seeding in the upcoming GMC tournament. And Iannazzo with a 4-2 victory here at 135.
Very hard-fought match between Nick Iannazzo and Justin Kill, but Nick coming up with a 4-2 victory on 2 reversals in that bout and giving the Bears a 14-11 lead in the match.
Nice technical match by Nick Iannazzo.
Very good. Very steady work. It brings us to 140 pounds, and this is a tough one. Nate Mull coming out for the Bears against one of the better wrestlers, if not the best wrestler for the Hawks, Gene Zanetti. Zanetti, a junior with a very gaudy 9-1 record. And Mull, another one of the sophomores. Just as Glenn Pazinko expected a great deal from Keith Richings, I'm quite sure that Steve Giordano is looking for the same from Zanetti here at 140 pounds.
Certainly, Coach Giordano is looking to get 6 points out of this bout. So Nate Mull has his work cut out for him.
An experienced and tough junior for the Hawks going up against a much less
total year-round competitor here in Zanetti. Wrestles in the summer, wrestles in clubs and tournaments year-round.
Well, that's the amazing thing that's happened, I guess, in the last 25 years. The number of clubs are locked up in the corridor and a very quick fall, 45 seconds. Gene Zanetti doing exactly what Steve Giordano expected of him with the fall. J.P. Stevens picking up 6 points.
Going to get a look at Matt Merrigan here for East Brunswick at 145. Just a freshman wrestling varsity. Certainly a much tougher task when you're wrestling varsity as a freshman in the middle and upper weight classes as opposed to those lower weight classes.
Yeah, the lower, as we were saying earlier, the lower weight classes, you're going to find younger kids because you don't find too many juniors or seniors who weigh 103 pounds or 112 pounds. In the middle weights, obviously, you're getting a lot more. And here, Ron Cordero for the Hawks, senior. So, you know, the man against boy routine here and very physically takes Matt to the mat, but a good counter by Matt to avoid the points. Nice job by Matt.
Staying tough. Not intimidated. Okay, Merrigan wants to keep his hands up, wants to stay square.
We're going to stand corrected for on this match. That is not Ron Cordero. I was just told that's Damian Suarez, who is also a senior.
Quickly takes Merrigan to his back for 2 and potentially 2 more back points here. 2 in the bank. Quickly off to a 4-0 lead.
Suarez, who was scheduled to wrestle at 160 pounds, or at least had been penciled in at 160 pounds, obviously wrestles up occasionally for the Hawks.
Giordano, employing a little strategy into the lineup as Merrigan escapes for 1. And believe it or not, this is going to pay dividends for Merrigan. As he becomes a sophomore and junior down the road, you can get that experience in as a freshman.
Matt has a very good head on his shoulder, very steady wrestler. He holds his emotions in, so when he goes out there, it's a good work ethic. And you're right, no matter what happens here as far as his record goes or a result, it's a good learning experience and an opportunity for him to grow. Got that bar across there. Matt thrown to his back. 20 seconds to go here in the first period. Tough situation for Matt Merrigan as he is on his back, fighting well.
Merrigan fighting. It's a tough position to be in.
5 seconds to go.
Merrigan doesn't succumb to the fall. Hangs tough.
Very tough.
If you're just joining us, we're at 17-14 in favor of J.P. Stevens. Here at 145 on our team score.
Matt Merrigan choosing the neutral position here in the second period, down 9-1 to Damian Suarez. Again, a switch from what was originally in the lineup. With that bear hug.
Saw a young mistake there by Merrigan, reaching up for the head, and Stevens able to turn that into a takedown.
Expose yourself that way, and you don't have the balance and the leverage that you need to finish things off and defend.
Okay, Merrigan needs to establish hand control here. Goes to a sit position. Merrigan's tough. He's a fighter. He's not going to be intimidated. He's going to give it everything he's got for 6 minutes out there. And get another blood stoppage.
This time it is Matt Merrigan who has drawn blood. And you can see, as we were talking earlier, Coach Glenn Pazinko is able to do some coaching with a blood timeout, unlike with an injury timeout. So they will stop the bleeding first, and they'll go out there and clean the mat up if there's anything on the mat.
So get a look at Phil Hostler, tending to Merrigan.
Phil was looking forward to the completion of the construction here at the high school because he's going to get a new training room out of this, and he's very excited about that. It's not quite as big, I don't think, as he would have liked.
As we make that ride up the hill, certainly a war zone up here like I have not been accustomed to. I haven't been here in quite a while.
A lot of construction going on. At this point, we are at 145 pounds. Matt Merrigan and Damian Suarez, they are in a match in which Suarez is leading 11-1. Again, if you're just joining us, We led off with the first of the two Zanetti brothers with a tech fall over Carmen Corona at 103 pounds, followed by a very exciting come-from-behind win by Jamie Guido, 16-15. We had a lot of scoring there. Guido coming back with a 5-point move at the end. Rob Brown for the Hawks winning at 119. Keith Richings with a very quick, very good work over Dan Miller at 17-2 win at 125. Brian Ackerman with a good win at 9-4 at 130. Nick Yanazzo coming up with a very tough fought 4-2 win, and then Gene Zanetti of the Hawks taking it at 140 pounds in a 45-second fall. And that brings us to the 145-pound match with Matt Merrigan in the second period here, wrestling Damian Suarez. A minute to go here in the second.
Well, it's interesting how every point has a way of working itself out at the end of the match, but you don't realize how important each point you give up during the action is the total outcome of the team score. But those extra, when you can turn a 3-point victory into a 4-point victory by making that spread 8 instead of 7, certainly helps your team. So, you know, as we see a perfect example of Merrigan out here, not letting up, you know, being overmatched, outpowered by a senior. Merrigan's just not going to succumb. He's fighting to the end here.
Not giving up a fall and giving up only a 4-point decision, let's say, or not giving up the fall and only giving up 5 points in a tech fall. And you say, well, gee, a tech fall, you really got worked over. But the bottom line was that extra point, again, as you said, you don't know where down the line. 14 bounces, a lot of competition, and that 1 point makes a great deal of difference. And as much as people sometimes view this as an individual sport, that's where the team aspect comes in. Matt getting turned over and again having to fight off his back here as back points are being earned by Damian Suarez. 10 seconds to go here in the second period. Matt had to fight off the end of the first period in the same way. 5 seconds to go. He does fight back to his belly. And after 2 periods, it is 14-1. Damian Suarez leading Matt Merrigan. Matt having the choice taking down, I believe, I thought it was the Matt taking the choice in the first period. I guess that was second period, Suarez did. But down 14-1 at 145 pounds, Matt Merrigan fighting. And just as you were saying, Stu, really trying to avoid giving up the last 2 points, so to speak, in that 15-point decision.
As Merrigan pops up to his feet, brings us to 14-2 and a 12-point gap in the score. So Merrigan needs to stay tough here for one more period.
He has not been hesitant. He went right back up right after Suarez, even though he's given up a couple of takedowns. He's not hesitating. And you like to see that in a wrestler. You know, obviously he's been overmatched a bit here, but he's certainly not showing any signs of giving up easily. Fighting off his back twice at the end of both the first and the second period.
Merrigan with his work cut out for him for a minute 10 here left in the third period. Merrigan needs to stay busy, needs to circle, needs to stay aggressive. Doesn't want to give up any more points.
He's got to face him now, otherwise he's going to give up that takedown, which he does. That makes it 16-2. A 14-point lead. This is an interesting situation because if Suarez were to turn him over and not pin him and Matt get back, the match is over and he doesn't get the fall, and there's that 1 point differential we were talking about, and those things do start to add up after a while.
Okay, you cannot get a pin on the boundary line either. So Merrigan was in safe haven right there on the edge as we're going to get a fresh start with 30 seconds to go.
Steve Giordano just gave him the sign to cut him loose and probably go for the quick 5-point move if he can at the end at least, and possibly put him on his back. 30 seconds to go, as you just said. Damian Suarez leading now 16-3 over Matt Merrigan.
As Merrigan's warned for stalling, but that's okay. Merrigan needs to stay busy here though. Can't back up, needs to go forward.
15 seconds to go in the period.
Look for Merrigan to try to get in on a leg.
He can fight it. Oh, right. There's 2 and the match.
Nice job by Merrigan.
Absolutely.
A win for Stevens, but certainly a victory for East Brunswick, avoiding the fall.
Now that was 18-3. That should be a tech fall.
Let's see if that 1 point comes back to play dividends for East Brunswick. Merrigan doing his job.
Tough match for Matt Merrigan, fighting a very tough and strong opponent, but giving a lot of fight. Fighting off his back at the end of the first and at the second period, and not giving up the pin. At 152 pounds, that brings up Jay Sawitsky for the Bears. Jay is a junior. And against Ron Cordero. Again, part of that strategy, Steve Giordano moving Cordero up to 152 pounds, originally penciled in at 145. Cordero is a senior, a 9-3 record, so he's getting some advantage here. Sawitsky, a junior, has an 0-5 record. And Giordano must feel that there's a better matchup here, and the strengths.
Well, it's interesting to know. Keep in mind, East Brunswick has going to receive a forfeit at heavyweight, so there's 6 points looming in the bank for East Brunswick right now. So, you know, Giordano knows he's got to get it done early here.
It puts a lot of pressure on these next several wrestlers. You've got Sawitsky here, Sam Mull at 160, either John Clay or Matt Kolbeck at 71, 89 James Gagnon, and then Adam Fleischer. Those are the ones right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches where the Bears have to pick up some points and be within striking distance before the forfeit at heavyweight.
And JP Stevens has Tim Kermazian in the wings, a returning region place winner at 215. So East Brunswick certainly wants to score here. As we go out of bounds, we're at 0-0 here at 152. 1 minute into the first period.
After we had that very slow match with Brian Ackerman and Matt Stanzione with all those blood times, the match has moved along pretty quickly.
I don't think any match tonight's going to steal the action from Jamie Guido at 112 versus Jim Kim. That was quite an exciting bout we had.
Jamie came back. I mean, he made a mistake in the second period, didn't finish something off, and gave up a 5-point move, and then came back himself to score 5 points at the end of the bout to win it. Jay Sawitsky's been warned for stalling. He has been backing up a bit against Ron Cordero.
Sawitsky, a junior. Sawitsky certainly looks like the stronger of the two as he quickly spins around for a takedown. Score first here at 152. It's Jay Sawitsky on the board first for the Bears at 152.
15 seconds remaining here in the first period. Quick reversal there. Oh, not yet. Okay.
Now it's official. Cordero tying the score.
At the end of one, we have a 2-2 score here at 152 pounds.
Sawitsky has choice. He defers his choice to the third period. Cordero taking bottom. Quick switch by Cordero. Take the lead 4-2.
Quick points on the board by Cordero, and I think here again.
Okay, what Sawitsky has to do here is get back to the table, get back to his base, establish hand control,
Now,
look away and peel off that half. Nice job by Sawitsky, popping to his feet.
Didn't quite get those legs back to defend. And Cordero back on top again. Good crossface working on that. He's got the leg hooked in the back.
So far we've seen a nice officiating job also by Lou Del Monte.
Yes.
A lot harder than it looks out there.
Well, you're watching 1,001 different things. You're certainly watching the moves, and you have to keep the score in your head. You're looking for illegal holds. You're wanting to maintain the pace of the match.
And you don't have the pleasure of instant replay. Certainly got to react fast. And
there is no further review here. We're under a minute at 50 seconds here in the second period at 152 pounds. Ron Cordero for the Hawks. with a 4-2 lead over Jay Selitsky. Selitsky trying to make that throw and not successful. Cordero very physical, working the neck. Cross faces in there.
As you said earlier, East Brunswick coming into this match off an impressive win over Woodbridge. Woodbridge, one of the powerhouses in the red division, and East Brunswick knocked them off.
And Stevens,
34-30.
Stevens had lost to Woodbridge previously, so you're wondering if the mathematical equation was going to work. A greater than B and B greater than C, but that's not always the case in wrestling.
Well, sometimes just the matchups.
Right. Where did those wins come? It's not just a matter of in basketball somebody got hot and poured in those points, but how did that matchup go? And the kinds of things that Steve Giordano did, a little moving Suarez down to 45, Cordero up to 52. Selitsky was just warned. If I'm not mistaken, he got warned, and that should be a point, and they're calling for that over on the bench from Stevens. Lou might have lost track there. He may have not remembered that he had given a warning previously. We have it written down. He's going to check. And that second warning did cost Jay Selitsky a point. That's one of the things coach has to keep track of too, that score. It's a lot easier to remember those things when you're not officiating a match too. Selitsky on top with a 5-2 lead here in the third period. Again, working the top, spreading the legs in the bottom to take Selitsky off his base. Again, going back to something we mentioned earlier, Stu, I would imagine that Coach Giordano is looking for a lot from Cordero here, and he has made the turn, and this is what he was probably hoping for. 1:22 to go in the period, a lot of time, and Jay Selitsky on his back.
He needs to bridge here. He needs to get up on his head and arch and try to get towards that boundary line.
What was a fairly close match in score has changed. With 1:08 to go, a fall for Ron Cordero. The fall at 4:52. 6 points for the Hawks and a 28-14 lead, doubling up the Bears as we go to 160 pounds. Selitsky had a close match there. Certainly Cordero physically was controlling it, but he was able to hang in there with a 5-2 score until that move right there at that point in the match. It brings up the 160-pound matchup. Sam Mull for the Bears.
Well, we're at 28-14. Stevens, certainly not an insurmountable lead for the Hawks. But
Not
East
at all.
Brunswick needs to start chipping away at that lead.
Well, you only have 4 head-to-head bouts coming up. You've got the 6 points at 275 at heavyweight. Dennis Bruno is going to be getting a forfeit. So in a sense, it's 28-20 right now. So it really comes down to making up those 8 points and pulling ahead in these 4 bouts. And as you said, Tim Karmazin at 215 is going to be a tough matchup for Adam Fleischauer. Chris Riolo out there for the Hawks, a senior with a 6-6 record. And Sam Mull, also a senior. He's been in the lineup for the Bears for several years now.
Mull's 3-5 record is a little not quite indicative of how tough he's been. He's been run up to tough competition this year, so don't be fooled by his record. Mull's certainly capable of pulling out a victory here for the Bears.
And what the coaching staff is certainly looking for is just that. They need to, as we were talking about chipping away, they need to start doing that right now. They have a couple of good wrestlers coming up, John Clay and Matt Colbeck and James Gagnon, all strong competitors. But you certainly don't wait till the end. This is Mull in on the leg. And the takedown.
Let's see if your theory holds true about scoring first here and converting that into a win. East Brunswick certainly can use a victory here at 160. Mole, too, has gone up a couple weight classes from a sophomore year.
He's covered all the bases.
Mole working on one-on-one.
We're at 15 seconds remaining in this period. First period at 160 pounds. And
East Brunswick's warning for stalling, and he needs to come out to the side.
Come out to the side, working for that fall. If you're staying parallel, that's going to cost you.
Mole vehemently not happy with the call.
Caution is a false start, and we just restart in that situation. It could eventually cost you.
Mole needs to stay behind, needs to stay hip to hip, needs to stay heavy.
As the period comes to a close with Sam Mole at 160 pounds leading the Hawks' Chris Riolo, and who defers in this period, and Sam Mole choosing the bottom position. 28-14 is the team score with the Hawks on top. Oh no, here's a situation too where Riolo is pretty much staying parallel. Mole peeling off that hand, trying to free himself up, facing him. And he gets a neutral. He broke control as they were coming around.
Mole to take down the first period. Let's see if he can do it again here in the second.
3-0 lead for Sam Mole. Here at 160 pounds. .117 to go in this period. Maybe it's just me, but some of the other matches seem to have some kind of a rhythm. I can't quite get a rhythm in this match.
Well, these guys are seem like a pretty even match, and they're both trying to find an advantage, and they're both playing it conservative. No one's really opened it up yet. As Mole tries to shrug it by and sink in on a near leg.
Under a minute. Sam Mole working on the edge, and Riolo trying to defend there.
See if Mole can keep
close.
him in.
Got the whizzer, and that will defend it well enough for an out-of-bounds call with 40 seconds remaining. 3-0, Sam Mole in the lead here at 160 pounds. Under 20. A lot of dancing, and at this point, Sam Mole trying a few things in there, not quite able to finish them off. But looking fairly good on his feet. Under 5 seconds, and the period will be coming to a close with Sam Mole leading 3-0. We go to the last period. Chris Riolo will have choice. He takes the bottom position.
Now, Mole gets in trouble here. Look for him to give up one as opposed to the two. He has the stalling warning.
That's the strategy. He's been okay on his feet. See Lou Del Monte looking underneath there, looking for the possible clasp.
We haven't seen a lot of stalling calls tonight.
No.
We've had a lot of action. Wrestlers have kept the pace going.
Sam putting in that cross body ride, which is, as it sounds, it's a ride. You've got to do something with it, otherwise you could also get called for a warning there. So he's going to have to move up, move this side, outside, again, to make sure he doesn't get hit with a second stall.
Mole's certainly been the aggressor here.
He's done a good job.
Just his positioning has gotten into trouble there in the first period. Right there, it's Mole trying to work that hammer. Mole's trying to work in a near boot.
as they go out of bounds with just over a minute to go at 1:08. Sam Mull for the Bears coming back to the center. He will be on top of Chris Riallo as he is in the score, 3-0. This is important. This would be an important match for the Bears if they can pick up the win on their journey back from that 14-point deficit.
Mull thought about a cradle. Now he's trying to work into a tilt. Mull wants to stay heavy on him.
Still quick definition, staying heavy.
Staying heavy. You want to keep your weight on your opponent's body, keep him down, make your opponent carry your weight.
I knew that. I just want to make sure everybody else did too. Little movement, good follow through by Sam Mull. 30 seconds to go in this period in regulation. Sam with a 3-point lead.
Mull doing a nice job riding here. Changing up his moves, trying different things, trying to work tilts.
But it has not been good enough, and a point goes to Chris Riallo as they called the stall. Now we've got a situation where, just as you were saying earlier, if Sam gets in trouble, and in fact he's asked Coach, should I do this? Should I cut him loose? And he's probably going to do just that. 15 seconds to go. He gives him the point. Now
Okay,
it's
so Mull can't back up here.
Now it's a defensive struggle.
He needs to keep going forward. Can't afford to get hit for stalling here.
He's got to be aggressive as they go out of bounds with 2 seconds to go, and it looks as if Sam will come off with this win. Tough to get takedown and control in 2 seconds, and there's the period. Hard-fought win for Sam Mull.
Certainly not as close as that score indicated. Mull pretty much controlled that match.
He did. He was doing very well on his feet. The stalling hurt him. He got in trouble early in the match in the first period, even though he was leading and got that takedown, but he was not aggressive enough. He became much more aggressive in the second and third period and finally gave it up with some points there, but a 3-2 win. Here we have John Clay coming out, a sophomore with a 6-3 record against Tom Caldwell for the Hawks. John is a wrestler who has come up again through the ranks of the rec program here in East Brunswick.
He's always impressed me too as being a hard worker, aggressive wrestler, fighter.
Very tough.
As like we saw in Merrigan earlier tonight.
He's a very tough wrestler, very strong. He's a thinker out there. I know sometimes wrestlers, you know, you look at them as it's brute force, it's this physical activity out there, but John is a thinker out there too, and knows what he's doing, works hard at the sport.
And only a sophomore.
Yes.
I think there's good things to come from John Clay.
I would think so. The Hawks Caldwell is a senior, and he has an 0-6 record. Very, very tall, very thin young man.
Certainly a place where East Brunswick wants to score here.
Well, again, I always, you know, as I was keeping score as a coach, and I'd look at that, and right now I'm looking at the score. It says 28-17 on the board, but I know it's 28-23 right now. So that means that, because I know I've got those 6 points. Caldwell gets in on the legs, and John Cole.
No points yet awarded.
Clay fighting it.
Clay needs to square back up and try to sit through.
He fights it off, gets the leg himself. He's trying to hook that leg on the near side.
Actually needs to turn the other way and try to cut through on
Go to the outside, you know.
Or if he's going to go that way, try to reach back up for a half.
He's got to pop that hand up and his head up through. 41 seconds to go here in the first period. There is no score, and it's neutral.
Clay wants to come off his knees here. He's close to the takedown, wants to avoid the stalemate.
It's a tough call for Lou Del Monte. He's got to balance that off because he might want to get a stalemate in there, but it's very possible for them to come out. But he decides the stalemate is the call.
And a good call.
I agree. So that's 3 of us.
Neither wrestler advancing their position.
That stoppage came at 25 seconds in the first period here at 171 pounds. John Clay for the Bears, Tom Caldwell for the Hawks as they go out of bounds with 16 seconds.
So this 2:15 match might turn out to be an interesting matchup between Tim Kamarzin and Adam Fleischhauser for the Bears.
That's going to be the last actual head-to-head bout of the night, and so as you're saying, it could be interesting, it could be very critical, depending on what happens here at 171 and 189.
Well, the Bears certainly welcomed James Gagnon back to the lineup. It was one of their strong points in the lineup last year, and just recently returned to the team after an injury.
That's an ankle injury, right?
Fine time to have him back.
John Clay deferred in that in the second period. He had choice, and Tom Caldwell chooses the top. John wants to start moving very quickly and get some points. He's got to get his head up off the mat. Very loose control there by Caldwell. And a stalemate called by Lou Del Monte. I always thought the stalemate was one of the most important calls a referee could make. I mean, it's critical to keep the match moving, and you don't want to give anybody an unfair advantage.
Clay needs to pop out here.
He is spread out on the mat.
Okay, what Clay wants to do here is kick out, get back to his table, and make himself long. When I say make himself long, he wants to extend his body.
I appreciate the definition again. John has been pretty much
tied up
down there on the mat. He has not been able to get an advantage on this senior from J.P. Stevens. And you look over on the sideline, and Glenn Puzynko standing there with his hands on his head and saying, you know, what's going on? I can't quite figure out what to do here.
Well, Clay might be playing possum, just trying to work that clock a little bit, wait for the right time to make his move. And
I don't like possums.
with 47 seconds left here in the second, maybe we'll see some explosion out of Clay. Clay needs to get his head off the mat, establish hand control, as I've said all night.
Maybe he was watching Jamie Guido's match at 103, 112 rather, where he came back on that big flurry at the end. 30 seconds to go here in the second.
You know, it's going to be Clay's choice on the third, being tied up here in the second. Maybe we'll see Clay take neutral.
Well, he's not doing an awful lot here, and unless John feels he has a lot of control on top, depending on what he knows of this wrestler or what the coaching staff has been able to give to him. That's about our fourth stalemate with these fellas. And John trying to get to his feet, and the leg being thrown in by Caldwell very quickly. He is really dangling over John.
Clay's got to try to shake him off here.
Only 5 seconds to go in the period. A little bit too little, too late. And that will bring the second period to a close with no score.
That was a nice job by Caldwell.
Absolutely. He was able to really do not a lot.
That was maybe a good call here by Clay, taking neutral.
This could come, in essence, this might end up being a sudden death match, even in regulation, because it might just be that those 2 points you get on a takedown will be the.
Let's see if I'm right, but I'm smelling a John Clay takedown here.
I've had a stuffy nose. I can't really smell much of anything right now.
I don't know. I think it's coming. Let's see how my instinct plays out.
John is a very proud wrestler, as just most all wrestlers are, but John takes it very seriously, so I'm sure he's looking to finish this off, and again, as we were saying, be part of that beginning of the comeback. A little sloppy on the part of Caldwell.
Playing on a leg, he needs to suck that up.
He's got to pull it in. And again, it's tough when you have somebody who's really long to do that. John's, at this point, got to post that leg, I would guess, right?
Well, John should go to his head, tripod, and try to cut the corner. He needs to stay square, though.
Crowd
nice
getting into it a little bit now.
Stepping over the
Gotta
leg.
keep stepping. Pop the head, and he's got the points. There's the 2 takedown for John Clay at the 107 mark here in the third period. Now he's got to work.
Now, if Clay gets in trouble,
let him go.
Let him go.
Right.
Reversal is what can hurt him here. And again, Clay has to avoid the stalling, too. Clay needs to stay aggressive.
51 seconds. John Clay with the lead at 171 pounds. A 2-0 lead.
Clay needs to push himself in the last 50 seconds.
Nothing in this match until the 107 mark of the third period when John Clay scored a takedown.
Clay can't stay there. He needs
Good
to work up.
Got to work up, right. And he's doing that, getting the outside.
That's Clay taking control of the
Trying to
half.
get the half in
Nelson.
there.
That's back points.
Lou Del Monte's starting to count. He's got a two. He's got a 2 count. 3, 4, 5. That's 3 points right there.
So Clay in good shape with a 5-0 lead.
20 seconds to go here. 5-0 John Clay. 10 seconds to go in the match. John just got to maintain some control here, not get careless. And he will come up with a win here at 171 pounds, another 2 points, but really not that critical. It didn't come up with an 8-point margin. A 7-0 victory for John Clay, bringing the team score to 28-20, or my scoring 28-26.
Certainly East Brunswick needs 6 here out of Gagnon.
James Gagnon, one of the mainstays of the Bears over the last several years, has been a leader, and Coach Pazinko was talking to you earlier about him coming back onto the team and what that's meant for them in the room.
Well, he's added leadership as well as experience to the lineup.
He will be wrestling Frank Yesilovich.
I was waiting for you to pronounce that. I wasn't going to touch it.
I pride myself on this. This is Frank Yesilovich for the Hawks, a senior, a 6'3" record, and it looks like 2 similar body types out there. Jim wearing the black tights.
We know Gagnon can go upper body. We know he can throw. We've seen it in the past.
The points here would be absolutely critical. And then it very well might come down to Adam Fleischauer at 215 and how he does against Tim Kamarzin.
Fleischhauser certainly had his work cut out for him. Fleischhauser, a 5-4 senior, but Kamarzin is a seasoned wrestler. And there's that throw I was talking about.
Takes him to his back.
Gagnon. Nice move by James.
The 6 would be important, very important for the Bears. Didn't get that bar, didn't hook the arm through. 3 points in the near fall and a 5-0 lead for James Gagnon as we come up to the 1-minute mark here in the first period, and they go out of bounds.
Certainly giving up 6 at the end for Stevens is going to hurt them.
But it does go back to some of your comments earlier, Stu, where you talked about that 1 point here, that 1 point there. This is going to come down to be a very close match in the final score.
I didn't have quite the words to explain it the right way, but I'm glad you knew what I was referring to.
Yeah, you had it covered all the way, no problem.
Gagnon close.
I mean,
Stevens rolling through.
At this point, the Bears have won 6 bouts. The Hawks have won 5. So it really has been a back-and-forth match, and that's when you come down to who gets that tech fall, who gets the 4-point major decision, who can get that pin or stay off their back depending on the circumstances. And that's what makes the difference in a match like this.
Well, Gagnon's got to be aware of here is safety, controlling his opponent, bringing him back down to the mat safely. Gagnon likes those throws. East Brunswick can't afford to give up a penalty or a default here for an illegal slam. So Gagnon needs to stay in control on all his moves, all his throws.
That's the danger in a sport like this, any sport where you have such emotions and you know you need that 6 points, or they want you to get those 6 points because that's so important for the team. And the emotions and the endorphins are running through your body, and it just charges you up to the point where you lose the control of the wrestlers. You pick them up and you throw them, and there's a slam, and suddenly the match is over. Deferred by Frank Yesilovich. James Gagnon takes neutral.
Well, Gagnon likes to be on his feet. He's good on his feet. He's got good takedowns. Nice stuff up there. So smart move by Gagnon taking neutral. I think the referee's going to talk to the wrestlers, try to settle them down. Both guys getting a little feisty.
Yeah, that forearm by Yesilovich, I mean, they're both battling there, but Yesilovich gave a little bit of a forearm chuck. And at that point, Lou Del Monte very wisely stopped the bout.
We very well might have our feature bout coming up next.
Yeah. An unsportsmanlike conduct against Yesilovich, and James Gagnon comes up with a penalty point. Just what we were saying, the warning by Lou Del Monte didn't go very far.
Okay, so this is going to be recovery time. Gagnon will have 2 minutes without being penalized against his injury time to recover from the violation.
So again, now we've given everybody their wrestling rule book lesson tonight. We've had blood time, we've had injury time, and now we have recovery time. When there is an illegal hold or a move which causes injury to your opponent, you have a chance to recover. This is not charged against you.
We're going to look at Jim Gagnon working on the eye. Maybe he lost a contact or contact moved over.
Yeah, the recovery time is over. They will go back into the middle. We're at 1:42 left in the second period. James Gagnon has a 6-1 lead over his opponent from J.P. Stevens, Frank Yesilovich.
He's probably certainly looking for 6 here. Gagnon has his work cut out for him.
He had him on his back in the first period.
Wants to take as much pressure as possible off of Fleischhauser coming up next for the Bears.
There's a throw right to his back. Didn't get enough control in there, but he's going to get 2 and 2. Ten to 1 here in the second period.
Gagnon definitely needs to fall here.
You know, a pin here puts it at 28-26. The 6-point forfeit at heavyweight makes it 32 to 28. And that then means that Adam Fleischhauer hopefully could win. That's your first preference, but does not give up anything more than a regular decision. He cuts Yesilovich for a point, 10 to 2.
Certainly wrestling at the end of the lineup as opposed to the beginning puts just that little added pressure on. The team score, you know, is at stake.
It's one of the reasons, I guess, why the colleges do more of the rotation of the starting point of a match. It's not uncommon for colleges to start at the middle of the lineup, so to speak, middle of the weight class order, and proceed from there.
Right.
Takes a little bit of the pressure off, and suddenly
they spread the pressure around.
Suddenly those 140-pounders know what it's like to be wrestling at the end and everything coming down to you, as opposed to people like Dennis Bruno and Adam Fleischhauer having all the weight of the world on them. A warning against Yesilovich on stalling, backing up with 18 seconds remaining here in the second period. James Gagnon.
Gagnon's certainly one of those wrestlers, and when he's on, he's capable of beating just about anybody.
Absolutely. Now in the third period, Yesilovich will have choice, and it'll be interesting to see what he chooses.
Something tells me he's going to take top.
Good possibility. It's the one place he hasn't been in this match. And the prophet,
I still got it.
Kohn, comes through again. James Gagnon here in the third period at 189 pounds, leading by a score of 10 to 2 over Frank Yesilovich.
You watch it enough, you start figuring it out.
Yeah, after a while.
Gagnon with a quick neutral. Gagnon with 1 minute and 50 seconds and his work cut out for him here in the third period at 189, leading 11 to 2.
You watch it long enough. I've been hanging around this sport for 37 years. That's a little scary. How old are you? Never mind.
Yeah, I know whose birthday's coming up this year, okay? So you got to watch it here. Don't open that door.
Gagnon with an 11 to 2 lead. As we said, he wants that fall. About a minute and a half to go here in the third period. He has taken down Yesilovich twice. He's put him on his back twice. He'd like to do it one more time and finish it off in that situation. There's a warning against Yesilovich again, and a violation point for James Gagnon. It's 12 to 2.
Look for Gagnon to stay aggressive, try much of the same.
That's a lot of dancing in there.
Yeah.
He hits him for another point.
Now one more time, he'll be disqualified.
Now, he gave him the 2 points there because in the sequence,
the illegal
of
move.
penalty points, the unsportsmanlike was a point earlier. It's 1-1-2, and then the disqualification. Now with 1:06 to go, while officials certainly don't like to do it,
So Gagnon needs to put the pressure on him. Needs to just keep driving and driving.
he keeps backing up.
One more stalling call, and this match is over by disqualification.
Under a minute.
Gagnon needs to get aggressive here.
For what it's worth, Yesilovich is, in a sense, controlling the match because James is not doing what he needs to do, which is to be very aggressive and put the pressure on Yesilovich.
Gagnon can't let up here. Needs to stay aggressive. Look for Gagnon to take
He
charge here.
he should be going right in on him. He should go right in on him and push him back. He's letting Yesilovich really dance his way through this match. 35 seconds to go.
Good move by Gagnon. Nice single leg trip for a takedown.
16-2, that's a 14-point lead.
Look for Gagnon to let him up and take him down here.
25 seconds to go.
Gagnon with the 14-point lead with a 25-point spread. Look for him to let him go and try to take him down again.
He does give the signal that he's going to cut him loose.
Okay, now Gagnon needs to attack and
He's gotta
attack
go
right away.
Right after him.
Let's go, James. Get in there.
15 seconds.
Bears need that tech fall or pin here. Gagnon
7
needs
seconds.
to shoot.
This is going to be a 4-point decision.
Maybe. Oh, ever so close. Nice job, James Gagnon.
16-3 is the final score. James Gagnon coming up with a 4-point decision, which makes it 28-24. And it now becomes critical for Adam Fleischauer to win the match.
Yeah, that's right.
To win his bout in order to win the match. On paper, we have a 28-30
Fleischauer
bout.
is certainly capable, but certainly has his work cut out for him.
Parmesan is coming in with a 9-1 record to Adam Fleischauer's 5-4 record.
Marzen in scoring first on a trip single takedown.
The 215-pound weight class, Adam Fleischauer, Tim Karmazin for the Hawks.
So in essence, the winner of this bout will win the dual meet. Be it decision, pin, major, tech fall, any way you want to slice it. The Bears need to pull this one out.
This is it right here. And there's, we go right back to those early points.
In any wrestling I've seen, it's always been technique, it's always been skill, but there's always the luck factor.
Absolutely.
Can never count it out. Fleischhauser certainly been in this position before and certainly pulled out some victories for the Bears. So let's see if Fleischhauser can do it one more time. A match that comes to my mind right away for Karmazian was last year being the lowest seed possible in the regions and stunning the field with an impressive Wednesday night victory over returning state place winner Establo Pulplez of Perth Amboy.
Would you say that again?
No.
Okay.
The Perth Amboy kid.
Karmazin having control here, a 2-0 lead. We talked about those additional points that you get in different parts of the match. The difference here right now, East Brunswick has scored 1 tech fall. Those are the only bonus points, if you will, that they've scored all night. JP Stevens has had 3 falls and 2 technical falls.
Well, Stevens has managed to stay off their back, where they didn't win, and pick up the bonus points on the flip side from the Bears.
So they have had 5 bouts in which they have scored those additional points, and that's made the difference in this bout right now.
Certainly 2 even teams. These 2 teams can wrestle again right now. We might have a different score.
No question.
But right now, it's all coming down to 2:15 with Tim Karmazian on the mat for the Hawks versus Adam Fleischhauser of the Bears. Karmazian with a Peterson counter for a 2-point reversal. Karmazian on top.
4-0 is the score here in 215-pound weight class.
Karmazian working a crossface, trying to bring it into a cradle. Karmazian's father, longtime coach at the J.P. Stevens North Edison Recreation Wrestling Club. So certainly Tim's put the years in. Tim, only a sophomore, might very well be more experienced on the mat and mat time than Fleischhauser, who's the senior.
Well, he's certainly had an opportunity to move farther along in the regions than Adam has.
Well, I think Tim's been wrestling a good long time. I remember him wrestling, back in the 3rd grade. So, don't be fooled by the sophomore, because he certainly put a lot of hours in on the mat.
He's put the hours in, and physically, he's pretty well developed young
Physically,
man.
he's come a long way. Last year as a freshman, he still had a little bit of that baby fat. This year, he's turned it around and pretty solid there at 215.
Including the forfeited heavyweight, the Bears will have won 8 bouts tonight of the 14. And yet, unless Adam Fleischhauser can come through the win here as he breaks out and almost came up for the 1 point, unless Adam can win,
it shows you how important it is that when you every point you make contributes to the team's score.
Absolutely.
And even in a loss, you're contributing by team if you keep it close.
This second period will be coming to a close with Tim Karmazian leading 4-0 over Adam Fleischhauser. So here in the last period with Karmazian.
Those 2 meets going to come down to this 2 minutes right here. Fleischhauser is going to look for the big move. He's going to look for 2 and 3.
12 bouts, and it comes down to 2 minutes.
Always seems to work out that way.
And those big guys always have the pressure.
Well, you can't say we haven't had a close, entertaining dual meet tonight.
Absolutely. We said at the beginning of 2, 3, and 3 teams, and somebody's going to walk away 3 and 4 at this point in all likelihood. And bouts that went back and forth. Very evenly matched.
Well, this match will also have a lot of implications on the county seating.
And the county tournament, of course, is on February 2nd. That'll be held at Piscataway High School, 2nd and 3rd. Adam getting a warning for stalling. Part of that certainly has to do with the power that Karmazian is throwing at him.
I have to tell you,
working with that crossface cradle right now.
Karmazian is much improved from last year. I had the opportunity to see him a few times, being an official on the mat, and really am impressed by what I see. It's just unfortunate for Adam. He has to wrestle last and absorb the pressure of the Bears. But, when you want to pin something on the loss, you got to go up and down the lineup. You can't stick the guy that wrestles last, with being at fault.
Absolutely. Now, we have under 40 seconds to go here in the 3rd period, and just what you're saying, Adam is just down 4-0, but, take a look earlier in the match. The Bears gave up 3 falls, 2 tech falls, and those points are now coming back to haunt them. Now, unless Adam comes up with something very special in the last 20 seconds, he's coming to his feet, trying to break 3, putting pressure on the head. 10 seconds to go, maybe just a little bit too little, too late.
2-point reversal.
He gets the reversal. And with 2 seconds to go in the match, he goes out of bounds. That will pretty much wrap it up.
Well, Fleischhauser has one last hope here. You know, look for him to maybe let him go and try to get him, throw him onto his back. Just ran out of time.
A 4-2 win for Tim Kamazin, and a 31, and it will come out to be a 31-30 win for the Hawks.
And we could try to find that point any which way we can right now.
Dennis Bruno will go out for the final match. He'll have his hand raised for his forfeit win.
A fine job by our official tonight. I want to add Lou Del Monte.
Did a very good job. You saw Dennis Bruno toss his headgear off to the side, certainly a little bit disgusted as the team shake hands. The Bears lose this one 31-30, a very close match, evenly matched up and down the lineup. The Bears winning 8 bouts over the course of the 14. Very exciting match with Jamie Guido early on at 112 coming back with a 5-point move at the end to win 16-15. Keith Richings with a nice decision at 17-2, a major decision there. Brian Ackerman winning very strong at 9-4 with a nice comeback at the end. Nick Yanazzo also doing winning a very tough match at 135 pounds. Some tough matches in the middle for the Bears, but then Sam Mull, John Clay, and James Gagnon all coming on to win for them at 160, 71, and 89. And unfortunately, as we said, Adam Fleischhauer may be bearing some of the brunt of the burden of winning it, but the reality is the Bears gave up too many big plays, so to speak, early on in this match, and it came down to a 31-30 victory for the J.P. Stevens Hawks over the Bears. Stu, any last comments?
Pleasure working with you, Bob.
Good working with you, too.
Hope to see you here again at another home match.
Okay, the Hawks moved to 4-3. The Bears dropped to 3-4 for EBTV. I'm Bob Cancro for Stu Kohn. Thank you for watching.